Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed Nader, and tonight we're going to focus on women empowerment here in Egypt, and more specifically under the tenure of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, as we did see investments in the empowerment of women since 2014, which could be leading to fewer people in poverty in Egypt by the year 2030, according to the Egyptian Vision of Sustainable Development for the upcoming 5 to 10 years. And we will be starting straight away with the main top stories that took place for today, as on the occasion of the birth anniversary of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi exchanged the greeting cables with the leaders of the Arab and the Muslim nations, wishing them and their peoples stability and prosperity. The head of state also sent similar cables to the Egyptian expatriates. Meanwhile, President al-Sisi received greetings on the occasion from top state officials. In their cables, they expressed their wishes for the president, for Egypt and its people to enjoy peace, prosperity and welfare. And First Lady Mrs. Intisar al-Sisi also congratulated the Egyptians and the other Arab and Muslim nations on the occasion of the birth of Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. On her social media account, Mrs. Intisar wished them peace, prosperity and welfare. We will be having the first report of the daily debate for tonight, focusing on the presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi over the past week, all in the upcoming report. So stay tuned.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met the Saudi Minister of Interior, Prince Abdulaziz bin Saud bin Nayef bin Abdulaziz, and the Minister of State and member of the Saudi Cabinet, Dr. Hassan bin Saeed. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Mr. Joseph Borrell, and his high-level accompanying delegation. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Denmark, Mr. Lars Rasmussen. Meeting was also attended by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian Expatriates, Dr. Badr Abdelati. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received at Al-Ittihadiyya Palace the President of the Federal Republic of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier. President Steinmeier is on an official visit to Egypt, accompanied by a large delegation of German business executives. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received the Kuwaiti Minister of Foreign Affairs, Abdullah al-Yahya. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi participated in the virtual presidential event Global Call for the Summit of the Future, which focused on discussing the country's stances and visions in preparation for the Summit of the Future, which is scheduled to be held at the United Nations on September the 22nd and 23rd. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi spoke by phone with the Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune. He extended his congratulations to President Tebboune on his re-election for a new term.
And we will be heading to the first report related to the topic of the daily debate for tonight, focusing on the women empowerment according to the vision of 2030 here in Egypt. So stay tuned.
By 2030, Egyptian women will become active contributors to the achievement of sustainable development in a nation that guarantees their constitutional rights, ensures their full protection, and provides political, social, and economic opportunities that enable them to develop their capacities and achieve their full potential. The strategy seeks to emphasize and fulfill Egypt's commitment to women's rights as set forth in the Egyptian Constitution 2014, as well as in binding international conventions, covenants, and declarations to which Egypt is a party. Moreover, the strategy aims to respond to the real needs of Egyptian women, particularly those living in rural areas in Upper Egypt, the poor female-headed households, the elderly and disabled women. These groups are entitled to care when the state develops development plans in order to ensure their full protection, utilize their human and financial resources and potential in order to fulfill the principle of equal opportunities as set forth in the Constitution. The strategy consists of 4 pillars that are determined to be achieved, and they are women's political empowerment and promoting their leadership roles through encouraging all forms of political participation, including parliamentary representation and representation in local councils, enabling women to hold senior positions in executive and judicial institutions. Women's economic empowerment through capacity building, entrepreneurship, and equal opportunities for women employment in all sectors, including the private sector, and besides holding key positions in public institutions and companies. Women's social empowerment through enabling opportunities for the wider social participation of women, increasing women's agency in order to make informed choices. Social empowerment of women through supporting women to gain their rights in different fields, provision of education and health services, supporting women who live in harsh conditions, including elderly and disabled women. Women's protection by eliminating the negative practices that threaten women's lives, safety and dignity and prevents their effective contribution to social development. This includes eliminating all forms of violence against women and protecting them from environmental risks that would have adverse social or economic effects on their livelihoods. Achieving these goals needs women's empowerment to be regarded as a collective responsibility that men and boys must also assume. Support women to realize their full legal rights with special attention to the rights of marginalized, poor and disabled women, and amending existing personal status laws to guarantee the rights of women, enhancing the chances of family cohesion. Renewal of the religious discourse concerning women's roles in the public domain and the rights to hold.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Dr. Nadia Zakhary, the member of the National Council for Women and the former Minister of Scientific Research. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, dear.
Anytime. Of course, you are a member of the National Council for Women, as I mentioned. How do you see the strides that we have taken under President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for the past 10 or 11 years in terms of gender equality and the women empowerment?
Of course, it started by 2014 when the Constitution was proposed, and there were many articles in the Constitution concerning the empowerment of women.
Yes.
Also the sustainable development. It stated that we have to empower women in 3 fields: economically, socially and politically. So it wasn't only words. Many steps were taken to empower women at that time, and as you know, by the year 2017 it was a year for women, and the first thing happened at that year that a woman was assigned as a governor. It was the first time for a woman to be a governor.
Yes.
For Alexandria, and then many other rights we have took, like the judges, the presidents of universities and deans and so on, and other training for the women to have position for decision making, not only working in a place like that. Training for the women to empower themselves economically by
Yes.
small projects. You can ask me in any field, I will tell you what, because there are
I would
many,
like to ask
many
more
fields.
about the sustainable development, because you
Yeah.
mentioned the relationship between sustainable development and the empowerment of women. How
Yes.
can we be relating both of them together for the future of the country and for the benefit of the women?
Yes, I will tell you first, women in general,
Yes.
they were empowered in many fields, as I told you, and many SMEs were made for the women. They were trained how to be decision makers. In the field of scientific research, although we are 50% of us are females, but we don't have decision-making positions. Very few decision-making positions, like a dean, like a president of university and so on, but this is not the condition now, because many training courses were done for the women how to be a leader. And now, for example, in Ain Shams University, 12 women were assigned as deans, and it is a very great number, of course. If we look for the Cairo University, we see that most of the vice deans are women. In other fields, like in villages, we are training women how to make small enterprises, how to make projects to be economically empowered, also politically empowered. Other laws were proposed for the women to empower them. For example, the circumcision, what else? The circumcision.
Not to be married before 18, for example.
Not to be married before 18, exactly. Yes. Some laws.
That's on the social
family.
level. What about the political and the economic levels as well? How do you see the importance of the empowerment of women for themselves, to say the least? How do you think that this will be reflected on their livelihoods?
Of course, politically, we can see how many women in the government, how many women in the parliament, and we need more. Really, we need more. But it was much more than before. We find that many women are like Ambassador Faiz Abu Naga. She had held a certain position that was never held before by a woman.
That was the international cooperation back then?
No, not the international cooperation. It's Amn al-Qawmi. I don't know
National security?
National security, yes. The judges, as I told you, many laws were also proposed for the heritage of women, because sometimes they don't give the girl the heritage of her father. But it has been a must that they must give the heritage now. It's not like before.
We have seen the Constitution. You mentioned the Constitution,
Yes.
but we need to be translating the items or the documents of the Constitution into laws and executive steps. Do you think that this has taken place on the ground for the benefit of women and for the society as well?
Of course, because one article in the institution is that if there is a vacancy, it's for the good one, not for a man or for a woman. And this happens now.
Yes.
But let me say that although the government believes the rights of women and they can take superior positions and decision making, but on the ground level, we need more to tell them what is the right of a woman, what can a woman make, because on the ground people think you have took your right, but you haven't the right to be a manager, for example. And this is a problem, that not all the people in Egypt believe in the rights of women. Maybe it's in the higher level they believe in the right of women, but not everywhere.
Do you think that this part of the problem, of course, is from women themselves? They don't believe that they can be taking this capacity?
Sometimes it's from women, because women fear when they make an interview, they feel shy and they fear of this position sometimes.
Yes.
But it's not always.
But
Mostly it's because men don't like women to be their supervisor or their manager.
A presidential initiative,
yes.
Bidaya, Jadida, or a new start.
Yes.
How do you think this will be changing the characteristics that you've been mentioning for women, that sometimes they're shy, sometimes they don't believe in themselves that they could be taking up this post and succeeding. You think some initiative like this would be changing the characteristics of the youth?
It's very good that you mentioned this initiative, because
Yes.
this initiative starts from 0 day till 6 years, and then from 6 years growing up to university, to
So
whatever.
it will be starting with the children or the infants?
It will start with the children, and when you teach the children something, you are changing their thinking. You are changing their ideas about a girl and a boy, and there isn't any change, because being a manager doesn't need great muscles, doesn't need anything, mustache or something like that. It needs someone to think, someone to have
a character.
Yes. To manage, to work in a team.
But that's important, because this will be changing over the upcoming decades, because we'll be starting maybe at 10, 20 or 30 years from now, the culture or the mindset of the future society of Egypt. How do you see the future society of Egypt with this initiative, Bidaya? How do you think it will be changing the mindset of the children?
I think it will change the mindset completely, not only for a man and a girl, or for, and a woman, also for loving the country, for loving the work, for being faithful in our work, dedicated to what we have to do, having gentle manner. I think in every aspect this Bidaya will change our future.
As a member of the National Council for Women, will it be targeting the females or the children from a young age? Will it be targeting the students at schools? Where will it be starting?
Let me say, we will target the women, but targeting the women doesn't mean that we will talk to the women only, because when we make any event, we talk to men and women, and many men attend our events, not only women. Regarding the motherhood and the childhood, there is a council for the motherhood and the childhood that will be devoted to the early childhood and to the mothers. But when we do any event, especially that I'm the chair of the scientific research, when I do any event, I do it for both men and women. Maybe the attendee are more from the women.
Yes.
But we don't let the men, we don't tell them go out. We are talking to both genders.
Yes, for the National Council for Women for 2030, there will be a national strategy for the women empowerment by the year 2030. How do you think this will be changing the face of Egypt over the upcoming 5 to 6 years?
Let me say something. I said that we have to empower women socially, economically, and politically.
Yes.
Socially, we are empowering the women by making her some projects that she can do, and we have made intellectual property for a sort of knitting, which is called Telly by Sohag, and this is very important for the women to sell their projects and to be the pioneers in this project, so they will be empowered economically. Politically, we are training them how to be engaged in the political life. It's much more better now. They know what is the politics, how can they talk in the parliament, how can they manage every political aspect. And socially, we are also upgrading them. And let me say that the first 100 million health initiative was devoted to the women, because it was for the breast cancer, and of course this is a disease for the women. So we are empowering women also medically. After that, the 100 million health initiative had been wider for other types of cancer, other diseases, for childhood and so on. But it started for the women.
You've mentioned, Doctor, that there could be a gap between how the political leadership sees the women here in Egypt and the rights, constitutionally as well, and the men or the society or the community now in Egypt sees the rights and the constitutional rights of the women or the females here in Egypt. How do you think we could be closing this gap between the vision of the political leadership and the men in the society?
Of course, Bidaya will be one of the initiatives which will close such gap. The woman herself, she must show that she is devoted to her work. When she does any work, she has to be devoted to the work. Besides not forgetting her home.
Yes.
She cannot be devoted to the work and leaving her home. This
Yes.
is not correct. If the men will see that, they will believe in women. But I cannot tell them, you have to believe in the women, they have to believe in the women. It's by,
Can they
the
have
women
this
herself.
balance?
And
You think
yes,
they
can,
have
of
this
course.
balance
We
now?
have this balance. We have it.
Some of you, but most of the women, do you think they have the mentality of having a home,
Yes.
serving the home, and
I'm
going
sure
out
of
to
that.
work?
I'm sure of that.
On the other hand,
It's
how
tough
do you
for
see...
the lady herself.
Yes.
That she has to do this and that, and always the woman is trying to not to feel guilty that she's leaving her house, not guilty that she's leaving her children. At the same time, she's devoted to her work, so it's a hell of work for her, but she likes that.
She has to believe that she can do both at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
And, of course, the man at home should be believing or seeing to believing that she can do both, so he will be believing in her rights more outside of the home. How do you see the other initiatives, like Bidaya, of course, we have spoken about? How do you see the other presidential initiatives that are not targeting the women, but they are serving the women in one way or another?
As I said, the 100 million health is serving the women and serving the whole community now, because, as I told you, it has been enlarged to many fields, like other types of cancer, like dwarfism for the children, like anemia, like what else have been in the...
Hepatitis C?
Hepatitis C, exactly, yes. Hepatitis C. Genetic studies for some diseases like the liver cancer, of course, because the liver cancer is increasing now because of the hepatitis C. Maybe we have eradicated the hepatitis C, but those who have been infected with the hepatitis C before 10 years or 15 years, they are now victims for the liver cancer, because it takes a long time between the infection and the disease to appear.
How can we be providing more economic opportunities for the women to be integrated in the business sector, and more specifically for entrepreneurship? Because do you think that in terms of education, more specifically, we can be giving the children, the female children, the girls at the schools, the ideas of having more entrepreneurial skills for the future? You could be having a home, but you could be having even business at home, or having your own business, owning your own business in the future.
Yes, and this happens now really at schools and at universities. At the faculties, many faculties give a course for entrepreneurship, and schools also give a course for entrepreneurship, and they are encouraging the children how to make your own project. As for the National Council for Women, we are encouraging women. We give them some equipment to do their own SME, their own small
medium enterprises.
Enterprises, yes. And we are caring for those in the villages more than in Cairo and Alexandria.
Yes, we have seen as well cooperation between the government and United Nations, for example, the UNIDO.
Yes.
How do you see the importance of the government cooperating with world or global institutions for the benefit of the citizens, and more specifically for the women?
We have some fellowships and some awards by UN Women, by L'Oréal Paris and the Academy of Scientific Research. Many awards have been proposed for women.
Yes.
In the Academy of Scientific Research and Cairo University. We have Al-Amira Fatma. It is only for women to apply for, and we have 3 types of awards for women in the Academy of Scientific Research, and maybe men say, why for women?
Why specifically for women?
Yes.
We need a share of the awards as well.
But we have many awards, of course, to apply at.
Yes. Do you think that cooperation with the global institutions like the United Nations, like the UNIDO, for example, could be providing training and improving the skills of women.
It is, yes, yes, many programs in the UN Women and in the Arab Women, they are making this training. And of course we have a committee for the training at the National Council for Women in that aspect especially. Yes. Another thing for women is that we have an office for complaints. And this office is very important for women because any woman has a complaint, she goes to this office and they assign a lawyer.
On any level or on the economic level?
Not on the economic. I'm not
on the social level?
Yes, on the social level. If she has a problem on the social level, like harassment, like any other familiar problems, she goes to this office, and this office assigns a lawyer for her. If there is harassment, there is a communication with the police and hospitals, and there are some places where women who have very great problems and don't know where to go, they have a place to sit for a certain time, and then they shall leave.
As a foster home.
Yes, yes.
Do you think that there is an increase in those complaints or a decrease following the 2013 revolution and, of course, ever since 2014 and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi coming into office?
I really cannot answer.
We don't have the same numbers.
I don't have statistics for the problems in this office, but I will do it.
You're very related to statistics as the minister or the former minister of scientific research. We have to go with statistics. Allow me to be going to the other report of the daily debate for tonight, focusing on the FinTech. Egypt launches the Women for Women FinTech initiative. We'll be having more details in the upcoming reports, so stay tuned.
Within the framework of the banking sector's unwavering efforts to support and empower women, FinTech Egypt, an initiative by the Central Bank of Egypt, launched the Women for Women in FinTech initiative with the aim of providing innovative FinTech solutions to support women entrepreneurs across various sectors in expanding their businesses. The initiative, which commenced in March 2024 and will resume for 6 months, provide women entrepreneurs with intensive training sessions and workshops in different fields to highlight the significance of FinTech, as well as directing entrepreneurs to adopt innovative FinTech solutions in their businesses. Notably, Women for Women in FinTech is under the umbrella of Accelerate initiative inaugurated by the CBE in 2021 to accelerate the pace of developing innovative FinTech solutions that meet the needs of women entrepreneurs. This initiative comes within the framework of CBE's FinTech strategy and contributes to the efforts that aim to localize FinTech applications through supporting the unique potentials and talents of entrepreneurs and specifically female entrepreneurs. The initiative also aims to equip women with the skills to use FinTech applications and achieve the right matchmaking between startups and banks via the embedded finance solutions to increase the long-term growth and success opportunities for startups, especially in light of the continuous development of the digital economy and the subsequent increased reliance on FinTech innovations. In the same context, women entrepreneurs will acquire the necessary guidance and skills to implement the embedded finance solutions, which will greatly assist in businesses development and enable enterprises to apply and capitalize on the embedding payment and embedded lending solutions. 12 startups were selected to participate in the initiative and deliver presentations for the new business proposals and visions regarding how to benefit from the embedded lending and payment programs. The selected entrepreneurs showcased their businesses domains to distinguished and experienced women leaders from the CBE, the banking sector, as well as FinTech and FinTech-enabled startups. Subsequent to evaluating the presentations, the presenters will receive guidance from top women leaders within the sector from the financial and banking industry to assist the outstanding female entrepreneurs in expanding their businesses in the Egyptian market, as well as availing matchmaking opportunities to enable collaborations with participating banks for receiving full support. The program comes within the framework of the CBE's proactive role in supporting and fostering startups, especially the women-led, with the aim to achieve economic and social empowerment for Egyptian women, in addition to encouraging female entrepreneurs to apply innovative fintech solutions and develop their businesses.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Dr. Nadia Zakhary, the member of the National Council for Women and the former Minister of Scientific Research. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight. Speaking of scientific research and the digital transformation that we have seen over the past 10 years, fintech, or the finance, or the financial technology and the finance in technology, how do you see this will be changing the lives of the Egyptians for the future, and more specifically for the women? As we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, or during the course of the episode, they should be working and taking care of their homes as well at the same time.
Yes, and we have an initiative as well which is more or less similar to that, which is known as Tahwisha. Tahwisha, they, from its name, they are
saving.
Yes. And they do projects with it, and they know how to put it in the bank. They have, all of them have the ATM. They are not, they are working together in projects. And as I told you, for example, the tally was a group of women. They are working together, not individually, and they took the intellectual property together. Taking the intellectual property is a start for applying a great project. It's not a small project, it's a great project that they can do and export their work and have a certain trademark. We can get to them, another thing is that we can get to them some budget and give them equipment to work with, like making a sort of extracting oils from the plants and so on. So all this will make them enterprises, and we are training them as well how to be a leader. There is an initiative known as Women Leads, and this initiative teaches them how to be a good leader. Especially it is devoted for the youth females.
Do they need better education, higher education, to be getting to know more about these initiatives and how to deal with the digital transformation and the ATMs and all of this?
Let me say we are working on both, those who are educated and those who are not educated. And regarding the Committee of Scientific Research, we are mostly with the educated people.
Is it harder to deal with the uneducated?
No, it's not harder, but it's, of course, dealing with those who are well educated will be easier, but it's not so hard to work with those who are not educated, because you give them something which is good for them. It's not more than their level. It is equivalent to their level.
Yes.
You know how? You will not tell them, for example, we are talking to the pupils in the secondary schools or in the preparatory schools that you can take the field of informatics, of electronics and so on. If I will make something like that, I will not go to those who are not educated.
They have to understand it in order to deal with it.
So you cannot deal with every category like the other. You have to know what you will say to each category. It has to be tailored
for them.
Yes, exactly.
According to each level.
Exactly.
Do you see more willingness from the women of Egypt nowadays to be taking the risk economically and having their own business according to the medium and small and micro enterprises, or according to the, of course, global financial situation or the economic situation, they just get a bit more conservative?
Some of them have the courage to make their own projects, and it's more than before, because they don't believe that taking an sitting in an office and working paperwork and so on, they don't like this now. They are trying to make their own projects. Some of them have the power to continue and others do not.
According to statistics, fewer than 1 in 6 women are employed in Egypt in 2024. How can we be raising those numbers?
Let me say that 1 of 6, this is in the governmental work.
Yes.
But many of women now don't work in the governmental work. And many of them work other work which is not known, like those working in homes, those working in the field.
They're not registered.
Yes, they are not registered. But they are more than one of every 6 women.
And we could be getting more women to be working, for example, in the ICT, in manufacturing, in tailoring, in healthcare. Do you think that this is the main goal for the government and for the women as well, to be those sectors are the main fields to be working in the future, or we have other fields that they should be excelling in?
They are working in all fields. But maybe they are
should be leaving some
increasing.
for us.
They are more in the field of medicine, in pharmacy, of course in teaching, in nursing. But now they are working in every field, engineering and every field. Maybe the least is engineering.
But we have seen, not directives by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, but more of an advice for the youth of Egypt to be knowing more about information technology, about ICT, about the fintech, about the digital transformation in the world and, of course, in Egypt. Do you think that more of the youth will be heading towards this field?
Let me say that, of course, it is an increasing field and it's the field of the future. But let me say that this field is serving other fields. The informatics and the intellect and artificial intelligence is serving other fields like engineering, like medicine, like pharmacy.
Everything nowadays.
Yes.
Technology is in everything now.
Yes, yes. So it's a very important field and we have to increase, and that's why we are making some campaigns for the students, for the pupils in the schools. Don't fear of this field. It's not a difficult field. You can manage it. You can be clever in it. You can use it. You can have a vacancy more than others. Also, the biotechnology is very important. Still, the biotechnology serves other fields like agriculture, like medicine, like engineering, like everything. So these 2 fields, the informatics and the biotechnology, are very important.
Do we have training courses that are ready now for the children, for the youth, even for the adults to be enrolled in this field, especially more in the IT?
Yes, yes. For all the ages.
And
starting from 5 years.
5 years old.
They have some according to their age.
And they're not afraid of it. You mentioned that some of them...
No, they are very clever in it and they like it.
And women as well?
And women as well. Women are not as before.
Yeah, I can see that. Of course, we have the Forbes list of the most successful women in the Middle East, about 100 women. We have here in Egypt about 17 of them. What does this say about the leap that we have had in this field for the economic or the political women empowerment?
Congratulations, and I'm proud of them, really. This shows that they have done a very great progress regarding the women.
And more specifically in business, because this list is for the business of 2024.
Yes.
Do you think that this will be changing the face of the economy of Egypt for the future?
Of course. And let me say that we are represented worldwide by the gender equality. Whenever we have gender equality, we are represented in a good way worldwide, not only in Egypt.
Yes. On the other hand, as we have spoken on the international level and the Arab level or the Middle Eastern level, how do you see the communities itself in Egypt on a smaller level between the man and woman? Do you think that things are getting better between them on a societal level?
As I told you before, on the governmental level, it's much more better. On the societal level, it depends on the society. If they are well educated and they believe in gender equality, or there is another society which doesn't believe in that.
We still need change for the future, yes.
So it's according to the society you're dealing with. Not all the societies are the same. We have different culture over Egypt.
One of the initiatives that we have seen over the past couple of years, or the main projects nowadays, is A Decent Life, Haya Karima, affecting millions of Egyptians in the countryside, affecting 4,000 villages, to say the least, and of course over 3 different stages. How do you see the success of the first stage?
It's a good progress for those who are at Hayat Karima, and they are putting some regulations, not only taking money, but your daughter should not be married before 18 years. You should let your children go to the school, and so on.
That's an obligation.
It's an obligation. You will not take the money except on condition that you must let your children learn. You must not let your daughter be married before 18 years. Circumcision is forbidden. So it's not only a matter of giving money. It's a matter of educating them. Good habits.
The mentality.
Yes, their mentality.
So
it's like bidaya.
Yes, so this will be taking decades as well, not nowadays, to see the effects of it?
No, we are starting to see the effects. Not 100% of
on the people, being reflected on the people.
Yes.
Not in the infrastructure.
Yes, but not 100%. But
do we need time, or do we need,
of course we need
people
time.
more to be embracing the idea itself?
Both of them.
We have to take time anyway.
We are starting Hayat Karima, I think, not more than 8 years or something like that, or less.
I think less, because we just finished the first stage. We still have two different stages. On the other hand, how do you think economically it will be changing the people, Hayat Karima, the decent life, because people will be staying more at their villages. They don't have to be moving to the other cities. They don't have to be moving to Cairo, to Alexandria,
and that's what
the bigger metropolis.
That's what I hope for, that people stay where they are, and they do their work where they are, because Cairo is overcrowded, and they come here and they don't find any vacations. Any jobs, any vacancies, I'm sorry. They don't find any jobs, so it's better to stay in their country and to up-regulate their country, where they live in, the village, I mean. Not the
but they have as well the infrastructure that they need. So what is the importance of the infrastructure and the thousands of projects that we have seen over the past 10 years under the tenure of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi? Because a lot of people were skeptical. What does this mean to us? How can we benefit from this maybe bridge or city or the new capital? So now we will be seeing the effects.
The infrastructure should be up-regulated. Without up-regulating the infrastructure, we cannot up-regulate anything else. And even their houses, many, the slum areas, many areas were made to remove the people who are living in the slum areas to good buildings, educate them, let them know what to do, how to work small jobs and to be economically empowered. It's not the matter only to remove them from a slum area to another area. And bridges and so on will make a sort of communication and infrastructure, and mega projects cannot be done without the infrastructure.
Literacy as well, of course, is very important. How do you see the role of the National Council for Women in cooperation with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Higher Education to be eradicating
we are
such a
working
phenomenon?
in that, and we have eradicated many of the illiteracy. Not only the National Council for Women, all the universities have this initiative, like Cairo University, Ain Shams University, and other universities. Every university is working in its environment to eradicate the illiteracy there.
So how many students have we managed to be eradicating illiteracy between them? As a round figure, not, of course, the exact numbers. We don't have the numbers.
I cannot say.
We have to be exact.
Yes.
On the other hand, do you think that literacy will be changing the future of the children, not just the women? Because, of course, women could be having families, they could be having homes, and, of course, children in the meantime. Do you think that will be changing the future of their children if they change?
Of course. Can you imagine a mother that knows nothing and she didn't have her chance from learning? Can you imagine that she will be good for her children, like teaching them, like caring for their health, like solving their problems, like a mother who is well educated or educated, don't say well educated.
Yes.
An educated mother is better, of course, than an illiterate mother.
Yes, of course. Dr. Nadia Zakhary, the member of the National Council for Women and the former Minister of Scientific Research, thank you very much for being with us tonight.
You're welcome.
Anytime.
Thank you.
And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.